Thank you very much, Mark, for being with us. Reports say the National Security Advisor has been the one negotiating the release of the abductees. What does this say about Nigeria's security architecture? And quickly, your reaction to the recovery of these girls without details as to how that happened. Who is to be punished?
Thank you so much for inviting me. And let me quickly say that I hope what was accredited or credited to Onanuga is not true, because his reaction to the release of the 38 church worshippers was that National Security Advisor and security agencies spoke to the kidnappers and told them to release all kidnapped victims, and that the kidnappers promptly obeyed the instruction. I hope this is not true, because if the high level and the top rank of our security architecture has capacity to talk to the kidnappers and get them to free 38 people, why are they not doing the same in respect of 300 people or 250, as the case may be? And what gives the high-ranking security officials the wherewithal to just pick the phone and call the people? Is it that easy? And people have been waiting for our children to be kidnapped before they talk to the kidnappers. There is something that is strange in the whole narration. And that's why I say I hope it is not true.
It is bizarre, now, indeed, if it is true.
That the church worshippers in Kwara have been freed. I am happy that a number of the children in Kebbi are free. I am happy that maybe some from Niger State are free. But government owes Nigerians an explanation. Is it that the kidnappers just happily released people they kidnapped? Or that there was an altercation or there was an effort from the Nigerian military or police to get the people released? Because
Mark, there is questions around that, but there's also questions about the tone of the announcement of the recovery or rescue of these abducted students and school pupils. It's always been, we've recovered them, let's work to prevent further kidnapping. But there is no talk about who kidnapped these people and what investigation is ongoing to get them to face justice. That, I want you to talk around that and what the implication is when the government is silent.
Well, the only explanation that comes up is that Nigerians are being forced to believe the stories that come from people like Erufai, who say that government is paying the kidnappers humongous sums of money to get citizens released from kidnap. Because if you don't explain how you got people released, you leave no chance for Nigerians to have trust in the explanation that comes from government. And non-state actors like Erufai will have a field day because their explanation becomes more plausible, becomes more possible, because kidnappers don't kidnap just for fun. They kidnap for a reason. And if you wake up and say you have recovered all the kidnapped victims, how did it happen? There should be an explanation to Nigerians from the government that is in charge of the process to tell Nigerians how they got these people released.
But if they're not doing that, telling us how this is done, who is being punished, because these are punished, because these are our children, what should be our response as a people, civil society organizations and human rights activists towards getting some measure of justice? It's not enough to release them. Yes, we are happy that they've been released, but what about those who are causing this chaos? And in the midst of this, we're talking about another abduction.
Absolutely. You see, Nigeria has been going through this. 8 years ago, I was in the forefront. I'll send you a video of my interview on another platform where we cried out from Southern Kaduna about the killings. At that time, government called us names and dismissed our claims. In fact, the issue that was important to government at that time was the number. We say 39 people were buried in this mass grave. They will say, no, it was 12. And that was what was important to government at that time. Today, we have gone full circle, and the issue is the same. People are kidnapped, nobody is arrested. Nobody can kidnap 300 children, citizens of Nigeria, and disappear in thin air. There must have been an exit plan, and there probably a vehicle. How did the vehicles move? How can the DSS, the police, the army, and all the DIAs, NIA, how can they say, for God's sake, that they cannot trace how a vehicle or two vehicles or three vehicles came in to carry 300 children and move into the forest with them? We are here in this country, we know that when Yahoo boys commit a crime, they are quickly tracked and found either in Port Harcourt. Teams of the police move from Abuja and track them to Port Harcourt or Ikot-Ekpene or anywhere and arrest them. How on earth do kidnappers come into our communities, kidnap people, and move away quietly? This is the answer this is the question that government is avoiding, and that is because nobody is going to be prosecuted for these crimes. And that is why when we say that government is complicit, we're not just talking because we don't belong to the political party of the government. No, we're talking because Nigerian lives matter. For God's sake, how can you explain this? That yes, your citizens were kidnapped. Some of them, you say they escaped. Some of them, you say you rescued them. How?
All right, Mark, just hold on to your thoughts. I have more questions for you.
So, like I said,
Mark, if you can hear me, I'm trying to interject. We'll come back. We have more questions for you. When we return, we'll also have Jamil joining this conversation. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We now have Jamil joining this conversation. Jamil, tell us about this breaking news, literally, about these girls that have been released. What was the circumstances? Do you have further information that is not available in the press right now? Perhaps how they were rescued?
Okay, thank you very much. It came as a surprise, even though, during the breakfast show, I told Mazzino that I had intel, from sources that there is a back channel, discussion between stakeholders or government and the bandits in trying to rescue the girls. So, just a day after or 2 days after, now the girls have been freed. So, but that one is yet to be confirmed. But what matters now is those girls are free. 24 of them are back, with their parents. And before joining, I even gave a call to one of the parents. He was excited and very elated, but he hasn't spoken with the daughter. So I know probably the government will have to make them undergo some certain medical, checkups. And, anything, that anyone might say, it's not yet confirmed, because just like what happened when they attacked, people were saying the vice principal, rather News Central went there and realized it was the chief security officer and the other security guard. So News Central will always and will also be on ground tomorrow, so that to actually understand what really happened, how they were rescued. But I know the government will try to keep that information close to their chest. But
what information, Jamil, what information is the government sharing as regards the security situation as it stands with the rescue of these girls? Are they saying anything about beefing security in the schools? Are they going to open the schools anytime soon? What are they saying?
No, I doubt very much. The government is yet to speak, since the events that led to the release of the girls. And even before I was in Kebbi, before I left, all military personnel stationed at the school, they have all been withdrawn. And, the federal government has also ordered, virtually all federal government-owned schools to close down. And that particular school, there is a particular, one of the girls that escaped. She wants to become a doctor, but, she doesn't know when the school will, reopen. And the government also has no certainty when it's going to reopen that school. And if it's reopen that school, is it going to deploy, security personnel, military, or whatsoever to prevent reoccurrence of such, abduction of the students? So for now, the government is not saying anything. And, but by tomorrow, we'll begin to understand what happened, especially when we get the opportunity to talk to some of the girls that, were abducted. By then, we'll get to understand and unpack the whole scenario. But one thing is, I want you to understand is, there is still this unanswered question. Who gave the order for the military to withdraw from the school before the attack happened? So the conversation, we have to align that. So by tomorrow, we'll begin to pack everything together and unpack.
We're hopeful that you can get us further insight from the security operatives and the government of Kebbi State. Thank you very much for the coverage. Mark, I want to come to you with just a recap of what we've been talking about, the concerns over the unanswered question. But there seemed to be an effort towards managing security, and that's the meeting that was had by the Southwest governors yesterday in Ibadan. And they've said that one thing that they're looking for is setting up the Southwest Security Fund. And they are also insisting that it is time for state police. It is not any matter of rhetoric, but bringing it as one of the solutions. Your thoughts quickly.
I respect the Southwest governors for this decisive action, because if you want to wait and rely on the federal government and its agencies, you may have a problem. At least we have seen the denial of the genocide in the Middle Belt by most of those in government. We have seen the complete insensitivity that people have towards Nigerian lives. Government officials will travel out of this country on government sponsorship to go and lie to the international community that there is nothing like genocide. Meanwhile, those of us here know, we see it, we taste it, that there is genocide. So the people who are wise should take the advice of T.Y. Danjuma. You better protect yourselves, because the people who are supposed, those who have the constitutional responsibility of protecting you, are compromised. And that is all we see. And we have certainly seen that governors, senators, we saw a debate in the National Assembly. Shamefully, the only thing that came out of the National Assembly, the senators were quick to say that there is nothing like genocide. The U.S. Parliament, for God's sake, spent hours deliberating on this issue. We didn't see that in the Nigerian Senate.
I wish we had more time to really analyze all the angles. I really wish we had more time to analyze all the angles, but the questions will continue to be echoed until we get some answers. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing the time to speak to us.